Welcome to Mad About Money. I'm Maddy Alexandr-Grout, and this is the podcast that is Mad About Money. I am here with probably one of my favourite finance educators, Charlotte Jessop from Looking After Your Pennies. I've had Charlotte on a previous podcast before, but I've invited her back because I love her that much, and I think what she does is incredible. Charlotte, tell me a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, hey, well, thanks for having me back, and thanks for being nice about me, even despite the hair and the face,
You look lovely.
Yeah, so
I need to put my ring light on, but I haven't even got my ring light plugged in. I am very dark, I've just realised.
No, you're fine. You can work on it in the post edit.
Yes, yeah. I never edit my podcasts. They're all just too real.
Yeah, you've got to have it raw. But yeah, so a little bit about me. So I started looking after your pennies back in, oh my gosh, it's like 2018, so 5 years ago, over 5 years ago. And it was kind of just like a bit of a passion project in the kind of, I was going through mat leave, I had like my second kid, and like money's not great. And I was doing a lot of research online. I was deep in the world of like Pinterest and Instagram and following all these other people. And I felt like there were a lot of creators out there that were, they had their own thing going on, but I was like, maybe I've got a voice in this. Maybe I've got a different perspective. Maybe, I was a 20-something-year-old mum, and I had, I had two kids, and my background was as a maths teacher, so I had this teaching kind of edge, this ability to kind of break things down and make them in a way that people can understand. So just started a website chatting about that, and then it's kind of escalated from there. But now it's like this multi-platform enterprise, or whatever you want to call it. But it's it goes through waves of different things are working well, and I have different things that I'm passionate about. But yeah, we're like 5 years on now, and it's all quite exciting, and more interesting things keep happening and showing up as a result of it. So the most interesting of which is your podcast, Maddy. So here we are.
Oh well, thank you very much. Flattery will get you everywhere.
Yeah, I know.
Well, do you know what? So before this call, Charlotte and I were talking about collaboration, and Charlotte's going to be one of our specialists within the Mad About Money app, which I'm really excited about. I love your content because you talk about all the stuff, and I always say I am not the female Martin Lewis, but I think you are. Like, you are educating people on the nitty-gritties of things like ISAs and interest rates and things like that, which I have not got a frigging clue about. Like, this is why I need other people to come into the Mad About Money app, because if somebody says to me, what's the best bank account to get for whatever, and I'm like, I don't know. I just save money on like treats and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I love that, and that's pretty much how I started. And I think the nerd in me, being a maths nerd, I've always been fascinated by numbers, and I guess there was a part of me that always thought I'd end up in finance eventually. So it's something that's always interested me. But I think as I kind of went on my journey, and I started, the early days of Looking After Your Pennies was all just about like getting days out for the kids for less, and all of those sorts of things that were real to me then. But as my my own life changed, my kids grew up a bit, and my friend, I went back to work and stuff after mat leave, and then the money got better. My focus and stuff, it changed, and I realized that actually there are a lot of people out there that didn't know these things. They don't know what an ISA is. They don't know how to invest. They don't know, like mortgages and debt and all of these sorts of things. And actually, I do, when people ask me about Looking After Your Pennies, I'm like, well, I'm like Martin Lewis, but like better looking and less grumpy.
And more relatable, and like a human. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. And like, the thing is,
he's
like,
probably lovely.
I'm sure he's lovely. Like, in fact, I listened to a podcast with him on the other day, James O'Brien's podcast. Super interesting background, like really interesting. Like, he hasn't always had it easy, but he also hasn't been like in the amount of debt that I have. And like that's what I always say. I bring the relatable, I bring the human to, and like, yeah, I don't talk about any of the like historical boring finance things. I talk about like how to save money when you go to the supermarket, and like how to save money on days out with your kids, and how to how to save money on like little hacks and food things, and like making your own stuff. Like it's just not, I'm not him. Like, and somebody commented on one of my TikToks the other day saying, oh, she's just a shit Martin Lewis, and I was like, thank you for comparing him to me. Like, that's fine. I'd rather, like, me being compared to him in any way is quite nice. But I've
had that as well, to be fair. So
but if anything, I would say that you are not the shit Martin Lewis. I would say that you are Charlotte Jessop, the person who talks in language that people understand. Because I think that's one thing that I find, because I try and watch Martin Lewis's Money show. I think it's useful for an education purpose, but he talks so fast, and I'm like, slow down, mate. I do not get what you're talking about. Whereas like I go and watch your stuff, and I'm like, oh, no, Charlotte's just explained it, and now I get it. So I think that's a good thing. Like, there's
I don't know how to talk any other way. This is the thing. I'm blessed with a brain that understands numbers and that sort of thing. But when it comes to communication, I guess this is why I ended up in teaching in the early days, was because I have the sort of brain that can understand complicated things, but actually when it comes out of my mouth again, it's in words that like normal people get. So
which is really important.
Which is my skill.
It's so important to actually be able to educate people in a way that is understandable. And I feel like this is another one of the reasons why I wanted to bring the Mad About Money app to play, because Martin Lewis is the person who is the finance guru of the UK. And I think there are so many amazing content creators, amazing people who could do amazing things. And I think the power of all of us together doing amazing things together with the platform that really helps to support people, I think that's powerful. So that's where I'm going. That's my mission, to help more people.
And I think it's really interesting, isn't it? Because I mentioned when I was kind of like introducing myself there, that actually we need people that represent us, that look like us, that speak from a perspective that we understand. And like, I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Like, some people are going to be like, who is this woman, like she
I always think that about myself, because I'm thinking I am very Marmite, because I'm quite out there and quite loud. I'm like, lots of people are not gonna, and also I'm very sweary as well, and lots of people don't like that. So, in fact, I have been told
quite
that
sweary
recently.
too. But and like you say, there are going to be people that sit there and go, oh, like, this woman doesn't represent me, like she's too old, she hasn't lived a life that is similar to mine. But then there's going to be people out there that are like, what, actually, maybe they are teachers, or we've had these similar sorts of things. They've got a couple of kids, their lives look a little bit like mine, or we've been through the same struggles, or we've got the same goals, and so we need lots of people talking about finance, so that everybody feels that they have somebody out there that speaks to them in a way that they understand. So I think you're absolutely doing the right thing by getting all of these people together and offering lots of different things to people, because we need, like, it's like the yellow pages, isn't it? It's what you're creating, the yellow pages of, like, financial
basically, and business as well. So there's like a whole business section where people can learn about various different business things. So like, it's not just personal finance, it is also like business finance, how to grow your business, and all that sort of stuff as well. So it's very varied, and I think people will, I'm hoping people will get it, and I'm hoping that people will.
Money and business go hand in hand.
They do. Well, they do, exactly. And also, you get people who are stuck in jobs, and they want to start their own business. There isn't really something that helps them to do that. Like, or somewhere that they can go, where they can go, hey, I want to start a business, what do I need? And I've got a guy from the Federation of Small Businesses who's going to help, and he's going to be like, hey, these are the things you need to start with, and like la la la.
Perfect.
So
Yeah.
I've got some relationships with NatWest as well. So I'm talking to NatWest about a few things at the moment. So there's lots of things that are going on. So very exciting. But Charlotte, what I ask everybody on my podcast, and you know this because I've had it, what is your money story?
Oh gosh. It's not really a lot to it, if I'm honest. I don't have this huge, like backstory. Like I would suck on like the X Factor or something like that, because
I've got no sob story.
Yeah, to like make something up. Like, oh no, I'm really short, and that held me back. But no, like I guess I have been I don't know, blessed is probably the words. I grew up in a fairly financially stable, my parents were financially stable, and they talked to me about things, and then like I say, I've always liked numbers and maths and stuff. So so there wasn't a lot there. I mean, I think a lot of my own it's just driven by just a passion to just want to know more, and I guess I've always been I don't know, even though it feels weird for me to say it, it's just I just wanted to. I think I'm a natural educator and communicator. So for me, like whenever I'm interested in something, I want to talk about it, and money has been that for me. So I haven't got this huge kind of like backstory in that I wasn't in loads of debt and I paid my way out of it. It wasn't. There's nothing like that. But actually, for me, like my family, just as an example, they didn't invest. My parents don't invest. They were savers, and they didn't. They got a huge mistrust of, the stock market, and I guess things they just don't understand. And so I kind of was raised with that idea, that you would save, and you would buy a house, and you would just you'd pay off your mortgage and blah blah blah, and you'd buy a bigger house and all of this sort of thing. So for me, a lot of my money story has been about filling in those gaps, the things that I just wasn't aware of. And like I always thought that you needed some sort of formal, stock market related education and things like that to access some of these things. And so so it's just because I'm a geek. I'm a massive geek. That is my money story. And I just all of this, everything that's got me this far has just been out of a thirst for learning, and then just a buzz for sharing that with somebody else.
And it's weird actually, because most people that I speak to have like a prior kind of like backstory, like either they've got like a rags to riches, or like paying off loads of debt, or they've been bankrupt or whatever, and actually it's your money story is kind of more future based, because you're building and growing a future, and you're investing, and you're doing all of these things to kind of plan for your future and your family's future. So it's interesting to see the money story from the future perspective. Do you want to talk a little?
Give me a few years, and then I'll be able to be like, oh, like back in the day, I was like,
back in the day, I have no money story.
Exactly. This is the turnaround point.
So talk to us a little bit about your kind of strategy and your investments and stuff like that. So like how did you kind of go from not knowing anything about the stock market to being able to talk about it? Was it just a question of like educating yourself and then sort of trying it, or?
I read some books basically, and it was, like I say, it was a very personal journey that I guess I was doing publicly, which is a lot of what content creators do. People in the health and fitness sector, they start off and they're like maybe on their own journey to get well and fit and all of these sorts of things, and they share it online. And my kind of journey with speaking about finances has been very much the same thing. It's been actually, I was ticking along quite nicely, and then I was like, well, actually, how do I do these things? There's things I don't know. How can I get better at these things. And I think, I went through this phase of going, like I've already said about, like saving money and, making my money go a bit further with the kids and all of these things. And these are still things I'm really, really passionate about. But then I was like, oh, hang on a minute, I've kind of reached this almost plateau. Like, I'm really good at this now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know how much I've got coming in. I know where it's going. I'm happy that I'm getting the best deals and I'm not wasting it and all of these sorts of things. And, there was money left over and I wanted to make sure I was doing the best possible thing for that. And it was then this moment I was like, well, yeah, I've got decent savings accounts, I've got like, at that point it was a teacher's pension. So I had this pension and I was like, that's okay. Like one of the best ones out there. So I'm like, I don't need to worry about that. How do I invest? Like, how do I do this? So I started reading lots of books. So I, oh gosh, all the common ones. I think the one that kind of like switched it for me and took it from being this thing that other people did to a thing that something was manageable for me was I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. And he's actually just got a series out on Netflix called like How to Be Rich or something like this. And I'm like, when I get a minute, when I'm not like recording podcasts or creating content that I get it, like any of those things, I'm going to watch that. So it might have to be, I don't know, later this year. But
I'll probably watch it before you because I'm at the stage where I'm like, oh, Firefly Lane is out on Friday. So I'm like, I want to watch that. But then after that, I'm going to need something else. And that sounds really interesting. I mean, I've got like a load of money books. So like whenever a content creator, because I like to support people. So like you get content creators, they go out and they put a book out and I'm like, do you know what? I need to buy their book because it helps me to learn more about those people and whether or not I want to work with them. And also it's really good. So I mean, my first book that got me thinking that actually I could do this as a job and actually like I did have something that I could bring to the table was It's Not About the Money by Catherine Morgan.
Yes.
So such a good book. Like she's brilliant. She really is. And like love the stuff that she does. And also I've just been reading Gemma Bird's book, Money Mum. That's really good as well. So yeah, I like to support people in the same. The only annoying thing about Gemma Bird's book is that I'm writing a book at the moment about my money story, and I wanted to illustrate it, and like hers is all illustrated. And I'm like, damn it, that's what I wanted to do. And now I'm like, I feel like because I've got her book that she'd think I was copying her, so I can't. What am I gonna do?
No. That's the thing. Is that thing? What's the saying? Was like, there's no unique message. There's just a unique messenger. So you just put your own little.
Yeah,
like you just put your own spin on it, and it's just different voices, isn't it? People showing up in from their own perspectives.
Well, mine is like an autobiography. But I feel like, who the fuck am I to go and write an autobiography? Who gives a shit about me? I'm not a celebrity or anything. But then it's really cathartic writing down your own story. And I just thought, you know what? I mean, it's very sweary, and there are bits that are probably not very suitable for children in there. But I think that's my story and that's my truth. So I'm like, I feel like if I go out there and tell that and then have all my money saving tips in with it at the same time, even if nobody buys it, I'm gonna have my face on a book cover and I'm gonna go, I did that. So because I'm that weird narcissist.
No, and you gotta get out there and people are interested. This is the thing, and I think there's a lot to be said for taking that stance when writing a book, because people are just nosy. Like, I want to know, like I want to know your story, like, and when they're with these people that you look up to, and people that people are following online, people are like, how did they get to this point? Because they want to know your journey. They want to know your secrets. Like, how are they doing well? And I'm not, like, what's the story that's there? So I think
true, very true.
It's almost like like peeking behind the curtain and seeing what's going on behind the scenes. So I think there's real power in an autobiography.
There is, but also to the same point, like I always talk to other people about their money stories, and throughout all of my podcasts I give little snippets of mine, but I never tell my full story, saving that for the book. I think the closest I've been is when I was on Radio Solent yesterday, because they were like, what's your story? And I'm like, oh, I'm used to other people telling me what theirs is, but I don't tell mine that often. I mean, I tell bits of it. I've got a 3-minute TikTok which has reached 297,000 people, and I'm like, that's people who want to know my story, and I'm like, that's crazy. So yeah, maybe they do, but I've been writing it for about 6 months, and it's one of those things where like you just think, I forgot that happened, but actually it's an education for me. So you know, I've written a lot about my ADHD spending addiction, because I didn't realize it was a spending addiction until I got diagnosed with ADHD, and I went, oh. So like going back and like writing down everything that's happened, I'm like, oh, now I know why I did that, because I'm connecting that with my ADHD brain and going, oh, Maddy, if you'd have known you had ADHD, would you have done that really fucking stupid thing? Probably not. So, but it's an interesting thing. So when's your book coming out?
That's a great question. No, I am not writing a book.
Why not?
Something. Well, it's not because I don't want to. Interestingly, so there's another like thread to my story kind of going on here. So I actually went back to teaching in July last year. Not because I was bored of what I was doing or anything like that, but actually because I wanted to we are looking to emigrate. We're looking to move to Australia. That's the plan. And actually doing that as a teacher is easier than doing it as a financial educator.
So. Yes. I mean, although if you go in and you go like, hey, I'm an influencer, mate,
I've got blue tick, like, is that okay? You know, like,
yeah, precisely, right? You know, that's very exciting, having a blue tick. When did you get that?
Oh, only like a couple of weeks ago.
I was going to say, because I haven't,
like,
because I know Francesca Money Fox, she just got hers as well, didn't she? And I'm like, this is really exciting. I'm like, when I can't get one on Instagram because I've got 1,800 followers. It's never going to change. I hate Instagram. I feel like I should have a blue tick though, because of all my press stuff. I'm like, I've got a column in That's Life magazine now.
Wow, like, that's cool.
Well, not really a column. It's like a monthly feature, but still, I'm rolling with that. So, like, but no blue tick for me because I don't have enough followers on it.
You'll get there. Like I genuinely felt like that, and there were a lot of people around me that they had bigger and better followers, followings, and not the followers themselves were bigger or better, just the size of the followings.
And this is the thing. Like, and when I was creating the Mad About Money app, I decided to create it in a way where it doesn't matter how many followers you've got, because there aren't any followers. So within the Mad About Money app, you don't have followers. So there's no followers, and also you can comment on posts, but you can't like them. So people don't feel like everybody's an equal within the app. The only people who are superior are the specialists. And the specialists have, like, they get a MAM expert tag that they use with their, like, when they sign up. They also get a special place in the app, so those people stand out from everybody else. And everybody else is on a level playing field, so there's no influencers in the app whatsoever. And I think that's going to be interesting because it makes it purely about the education, not about the popularity. So and it'll be interesting to see whether a social media app will work like this, because people are so used to having followers and connections and stuff. You can't even connect with people, so it's literally just about it's social, but it's education.
I like it. It's like an interactive newspaper.
Yes, we'll go with that. Although don't tell the App Store that, because they'll be like, newspaper, news app, whatever. They'll like kick me out. Like, they do ask you, like, scary, but
yeah, I mean, isn't it? And it's weird how much that has an impact. And I think, like they were talking about this, that where finance meets business. That this has been part of my learning curve with this whole thing, because I started off as just literally like a mum breastfeeding her kids in the dark, like one hand holding the baby on the boob and the other one like writing blog posts and stuff. And and you sort of think, how do you go from that to running a company, and like you say, like I'm now a director in my company, and there's people that well, I don't have a lot of people actually working for me, but there's a lot of people that I pay money to do things for me. So this is a very different journey. And then you've got the whole business strategy, marketing strategy, and all of that thing that go on for what essentially was just I'm just gonna stop talking to my mates about this because they're bored of listening to it. Like, let's take it to people, online that want to hear about it. So it's the business side of things has been fun.
It's a learning
I've really
curve,
enjoyed
isn't
it. But it's been new and it's been different.
And I think also as well, with having like all of the finance educators in, they're not always business people. They just know their shit, right? So, hopefully I can help people to grow their business, and, we can all kind of grow together. But, my next question was going to be, what's your kind of your next steps? What's next for Charlotte? But like, we're looking at emigrating. This is good. I don't know why I'm saying we're looking as if I'm like the royal we, like I'm going to come.
Yeah,
I was going to say. I'm a bit scared of Australia though, because I have morbid spider things. So.
Yeah, no, none of that bothers me. Like so for me, I'm leaving teaching again. It was only ever a kind of like a temporary thing.
Don't tell the visa people that.
Yeah. No. I mean, like, it was, like I haven't ruled out teaching, once we get to Australia. But for me, I just kind of wanted to get my experience up, and because I'd been out of teaching for 3 years prior to I'd been doing looking after your pennies full time for 3 years, up until like last summer. So I kind of like, I was like, do I even know how to teach anymore?
Yeah, of course you do.
So I had to get my skills dusted off. So I'm excited to go back into the world of finance, business and stuff again, kind of from July, which will be really fun. And that's when I think I can step things up a gear a bit. Like business has kind of like taken a little bit of a back step, not intentionally, but just energy levels and
and you're going to have to learn how to educate people in a new currency.
Exactly.
I mean, that's exciting, right? And this is cool, because when you go to Australia, then like we can expand the Mad About Money app to Australia as well, and you can be like our dedicated Australia person.
Well, I'm getting really excited. I think I am. I think I'm going to have to sort of find a way to run my business in 2 countries, because I think I'll always have a passion for UK finance, because that's where I've started, and a lot of those skills are transferable, but there are different products and services, there's not ISAs in Australia, there's and they have supers rather than pensions, and these have different rules and all those sorts of things, and tax is different. So it's going to be a new thing for me to learn, but I'm like super looking forward to nerding out about that. But
and I'm really looking forward to like you nerding out about it in the app as well, because I'm thinking this is great. This opens up so many more opportunities for me and you.
And it's not
selfish.
And it's not it's not just the finance stuff. It's like how do I run my business there? And I know they have different rules about like promoting financial products and stuff over there. So it's gonna be interesting. But a book would be is very much on the cards, but has kind of been shelved, excuse the pun, just because of just my other commitments at the moment. But I like to think that that's something that that will be back.
I just expected you to have already written it and it would just be waiting. Like I just thought.
I've got so much content out in the world at this point that I could just I've written millions of words, I'm sure.
Exactly.
I could just pull them all together and edit it a bit and it'd work out. But I've got a few ideas about what I'd like to write about, and just putting it out into the world would be awesome.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Well, I am really, really glad that you are coming back to the finance world. I think we haven't really missed you because you've still been around, but I think that there's definitely not been as much Charlotte content out there as like there was before. So now I know why, which is good, because I was hoping that there wasn't some form of horrible reason. Like burnout
I'm
or
just
breakdown
busy.
or good. That's good. Well,
the burnout and the breakdown hasn't happened yet. I mean, we still have time.
don't say
but we're
yet.
there.
We do not.
Yeah.
Not happening.
Yeah,
Not
we've been
happening.
close a few times, but we're doing all right.
Oh, well, I'm excited to see what happens with Australia, and
Thank you.
really excited to have you in the app, because I think you're going to be somebody who everybody absolutely loves. Where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm at Looking After Your Pennies, like everywhere. Yeah, Instagram and TikTok are the main ones, but I don't know. I'm on Facebook, Twitter-ish, LinkedIn, all of those. So yeah.
Amazing.
YouTube website.
And of course the Mad About Money app as well. So and that's going to be hopefully new and exciting, and another platform you can shout about. So it's been amazing having you on, and really great to catch up. For anybody who is listening, if you have come across this podcast in the Mad About Money app, you are in the right place. We are going to be helping you with your finances and helping you to sort your shit out. However, if you've come across it on YouTube or on Spotify or Apple Music, the place you need to be is the Mad About Money app. So if you go to madaboutmoneyofficial.co.uk, you can download it from there, or you can download it from the app stores as well. This podcast has been Mad About Money. I'm Maddy Alexandr-Grout. You can find me on all the regular platforms as well. And we'll see you next time.